Okay, good morning everyone. I thought I would show you all how I make my overnight oats, but technically not overnight, they're like the day of, because I don't like them super soggy, I guess, which is I feel like what happens when I leave it in the fridge overnight. So doing it in the morning before I go to work is sufficient for them to feel like they've been well incorporated with the milk and everything. So I have one of these mason jars. They're very cute. They come with these little lids, and this is what I use. Now on these jars they have a natural indentation right here. I don't know if you can see that. And so that's where I fill my oat line too. And then what I do is I cover the entire top surface in agave because I like a very sweet oat. You don't have to do this, but this is just how I personally make it. So it looks something like that. I don't know if you can see the agave right here. It looks like I put a lot, but I didn't because it spreads out throughout the whole thing. And then once I put the agave, I like to add almond milk. You can use whatever milk you prefer, but I like a good almond milk. And I don't really have measurements for how much I fill, but I typically like to do this much. Now it's not gonna mix properly, so before I add any other toppings, I'm gonna go ahead and cover this and shake to make sure that it gets well mixed with the oats that are in there, because what happens is because the oats are fluffy and they're sort of dense at the same time, they don't absorb milk just by pouring the milk on top. So especially because I think I have fine cut oats, they tend to do that. So I always make sure to mix my milk and my oats before I add any toppings. It's not gonna look like the most appealing thing in the world, but this is sort of what it looks like inside now. It looks like a big clump of oats. And then I go ahead and add any toppings. You see kind of how I had my oat line here and they decrease. So it seems like at the beginning you put a lot of oats, but it goes down after you add the liquids. So that's why I tend to overestimate how many oats I'll need. And then for toppings, I like a good chia seed. So I do what is this? This is a teaspoon of chia seeds. Oops. It just went everywhere. That's okay. And I just sprinkle these on top. You could add that with the milk at the same time, just because chia seeds also absorb liquid as well and become a different texture. And once that incorporates, I'm gonna go ahead and add some frozen berries. Okay, so I just go to Costco and I get a mixed bag of frozen berries, and they look like this. Very yummy, very delicious. I prefer a mix, but you can obviously do whatever type you want. And this is how much I put. And then what I do is I actually add some more milk, and I will explain why, but I add just a little bit more milk. I just add like this much more, and then I mix it again. I like to pack a whole bunch into my oats because I don't really like breakfast, so I like having a small thing to take, so I'm not dying of hunger when I get home. Because for example, today I actually just have a recovery run, so the fueling isn't that as serious as it normally needs to be, and the fueling for me is most important after the run. Anyway, so once I add some mixed frozen berries, and by the time I get to the hospital, the berries are no longer frozen. So that's not, some people like to leave it in the fridge for that reason, but for me, I've noticed they just melt by the time I get to the hospital. So I've remixed it, so it's about right here. And the last thing I like to add is a good heap of granola. Okay, so this granola is also from Costco, and it has pecans, almonds, oatmeal, raisins, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, linseed, and shredded coconut. And that is what is in here. And I just like to pour some of this into my overnight oat. It gives it a nice crunchy texture, and I just pour that on top like so, and it comes out of the top a little bit. I put my lid back on, I mix it a little bit more, and I leave it in my bag, and it's ready to eat by the time I'm ready to eat at the hospital. And that's how I make my day of oats. Oh, other thing I forgot to mention is that when I put my oats in here, my dry oats, I also add a protein powder. I use a vanilla protein powder, but I heard chocolate works just as well, so I can get my protein in as well, because I haven't been loving smoothies recently, but I have been loving these oats. So you can always add a protein powder as well to make it a little bit more substantial and more like a meal instead of a snack. Okay, so each morning really looks different with what I pack, but typically it will consist of my oats, and then today I also opted for a seaweed and kimchi snack. I've been loving this. You can also add rice to it if you'd like, and it's just a very healthy, nutritious option. Kimchi is so good for you. It's what's it called? Fermented. Very good. And on my drive to the hospital, I take time to think about what I expect from the day and sort of what I hope to get out of it, my goals, and sort of how I'm working towards those bigger dreams that I aspire towards every single day. And it's really a good way to reflect and also think about the future. And today when I got to the hospital, I did not have any pending tasks to do. I'm pretty sure this day we only had one surgery, so there wasn't much else to do except to study for my upcoming board exams. Since my first exam is coming up in May, it's really been non-stop reading and studying and reviewing everything that I should know so far from just being in medical school. But it's reviewing so much information in so little time that's been a little bit overwhelming. But I always try to make sure that I'm doing it in manageable pieces and not getting too overwhelmed by all of it. And then it is finally time to leave the hospital. Around 2 p.m. is when I leave every day, get some water in, and today was a speed run day, and so I'm all ready to go and having a nice run. Okay, so truth be told, you guys, I am not a huge eating before runs. I like a good fasted run, but I feel like today, because I'm going a little later and for a little longer, I'm doing a 45-minute recovery run technically. I figure I'm going to get a little bit of fuel in, so I'm going to eat 2 bananas right now. I am not a huge fan of bananas for some odd reason, but these really do help fuel me through my run. And because it's not a long run, it's more of a recovery run, so I'm not running as fast, but I am running longer. I want to make sure that I have something to help keep up my stamina. It is so important to fuel your body the right way before a run. That's why I always like to choose something light that I know won't give me cramps or cause any other types of uncomfortability on my run. So today's choice was banana, and today I actually did a speed run, which is not often my favorite, but I was able to complete it and feel very accomplished. And as always, I have work in the evenings, and to be honest, I love what I do. It's so fulfilling. I get to help students understand material and feel successful and feel confident in the subject that they're learning, which is such a great feeling. But it is tiring at times to have these 2 jobs that I go to, both that I value equally, and it's just how it is. So for tonight on the menu, I had some bread and some cheesy pasta. Just because you are on a fitness journey doesn't mean you can't indulge in those things. I always say that it's moderation, it's not restriction, and so you always want to remember that as a ongoing lifestyle, not just for when you're trying to cut back or lose weight or whatever your goals are. And now it is finally time to do some doggy cuddles, and tonight he was actually letting me get very close. He is actually a rescue and has had a lot of trauma and doesn't always act as loving as I would like, but it's okay. I love him anyways. It is the next day, and since today was a rest day, I just decided to go on a nice long walk with the pups, and it was nice and sunny and for the first time warm, so it was a really good day to just go on a little stroll around the neighborhood. Alright, you guys, so today is Tuesday, February 25th, and so Tuesdays and Thursdays are my rest days, so I don't do any running. If anything, I will do an extended stretch session in the evenings, but other than that, I do not push myself physically. I definitely don't go on a run. And so the reason why Tuesdays and Thursdays are my rest days are because those days at my second job is when I start a little earlier in the evening, and so it's just difficult to try to get a run in anyway. And so I designed my running schedule to where I'm able to take those days off. So as of right now, the way it basically works is Saturdays I do my recovery run, Sundays I have a speed run, Mondays I have a recovery run, Tuesdays rest day, Wednesday is a speed run, Thursday is a rest day, and Friday is my long run. And this week I have a 12.5 kilometer run. And so, yeah. So basically, it's super important, you guys. As important as training is, it's also really important that you have at least 2 rest days. I would say no matter how much of an elite athlete you are or how intense your training is, you need to have at least 1 or 2 days of rest and just recovery and very minimal exercise. Like for me, I will walk and stretch, and that's pretty much it. If I'm feeling like it, I might go to the gym to do some weightlifting, but again, I don't go too aggressive because these are days that are designed to let my muscles rest and recover, because even though they're called recovery runs, you're still running. And so super important you all take that into account if you are training for something like a race or anything like that. So yeah, today is very nice and relaxed. I'm here with the pups and we're just gonna hang out, enjoy some nature, and then head back pretty soon. But they're having some fun right now. He just found a stick to play with, so we'll be here for a while. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, February 26th. I am just getting my oatmeal ready for the day and getting mentally prepared. I have a speed run this afternoon, so I need to make sure to pack a lot of good, healthy fuel. So I'm gonna start with my, I spilled it all over the place, my day of oats, and we'll see what else, I'm not sure. But anyway, I kind of wanted to come on here this morning specifically and just really apologize to you guys. I haven't been as consistent with my content. I really went into 2025 hoping and thinking that I would be able to crank out 2 videos a week, and I haven't been able to, and it's been difficult really getting one out. And there are a lot of reasons for that. For one thing, I have been feeling very burnt out creatively, and I feel like I don't want to push content out there for you guys that seems repetitive, and it feels like that's what my videos have been recently. And so I've been very hesitant to even vlog because I'm like, ugh, they've seen this all before on my channel and it's nothing new. What can I provide my audience that's new and something that deserves bringing in views, I guess. And I don't really like to ever think in terms of views or numbers, but it is important to me to provide my current audience with quality content. And so that's why I've been very hesitant. But here's the thing is that I'm also still a baby YouTuber. I have about 100 subscribers at this point. And I was listening to an interview, I don't remember who it was, but I was listening to an interview about this, and they were basically saying that when you're starting out small, you don't have to niche down, you don't have to have specific content that you provide. You just kind of need to make different types of content and see what sticks. And at the same time, you want to make sure that it's content that you enjoy. And if I'm being honest, I really enjoy making vlogs like this because I like the action, I like bringing you all along, and for me it's just, I don't know, it makes making good content a little easier because I feel like, oh, I can capture this moment, I can do this. But I feel like it's not the same when I do sit down videos, which some of those happen to be my most viewed. So it's difficult because it's like, well, I do like making informative educational content, but at the same time, I can only do so much of it before I start feeling bored, I guess, which is never a great way to think about your hobby, and this is a hobby for me. So yeah, I think I'm just going through a little bit of creative burnout, and I think it's very common, but what I don't like is it's happening so early on in my YouTube career, and so that's why I've really kind of just taken a step back. I didn't post last week because I didn't post vlogs last week. I'm still posting reels because I love posting like to TikTok and bringing them over to the platforms, but I am really thinking long and hard about the long form videos, and to be honest, I don't know what that's gonna look like. I'm still gonna try to commit to one video a week for now, just because also my schedule for intern year is ramping up. It's getting a little bit more intense. For example, I start night shifts here in a few days, and so hopefully that will bring you all some good content too as well, some more good hospital content. So yeah, I just wanted to formally apologize for not being as consistent as I would have liked with my content. Believe me, I'm disappointed in myself as well. So anyway, let's continue. I was gonna do this while I was making my overnight oats, but I ended up not doing that. So anyway, I have my oats here. As you all know, I showed you all yesterday how I make it, and I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of rush through this process and show you all what I'm gonna bring for fuel today to help me with my speed run. Okay, so you all already saw my overnight oats. There's some good protein, and there's the oats, and it has granola, frozen berries, agave, and almond milk, and chia seeds. And so for the rest of my early lunch that I'm gonna have that I usually do 2 hours before I leave the hospital, so that way I have a good window, because I do not like running on a full stomach, especially a speed run, and I don't like running on a completely empty stomach either. I still like having enough energy and stamina to get through and get a good workout in. So what I typically go for is I'm going to pack this Silk almond milk peach yogurt. I am going to pack some kimchi, obviously not bring the jar, but I'm going to pack some kimchi and bring some seaweed, and hopefully that'll be enough. I'm still trying to figure out the whole nutrition thing. I've tried the 2 bananas and toast thing before my run. It made me feel sick. I have tried doing gels, made me feel sick, and so I'm going to try this and see how it works, because I feel like if I pack a whole meal, it's gonna be too much. And so I'm sort of still experimenting. I'm about 5 weeks into training right now, and so this is still the experimentation phase. I don't have anything crazy that I do have a 12.5 kilometer run coming up this week, but for that, I mean, I know how to fuel pretty well for my run, so I'm not too worried about that. But anyway, I'm gonna finish packing all of this now and get ready to head to the hospital. I am so comfortable with being by myself. Now, this isn't to say I'm comfortable with being lonely or feeling lonely. I'm just comfortable with being alone. And I think the one lesson I've gotten from it is appreciating the little things and just feeling gratitude for every little thing. And so I think it's important for everyone actually to practice what it's like to just be by yourself and just be comfortable with being who you are and accepting who you are. Obviously not to accept the bad things, of course, but to accept you as a person and always try for improvement. Okay, I just signed in, so now I'm gonna go. This is actually my last week on surgery rotation. Then I changed to going to the emergency room, so I am trying to cherish every moment. This is actually my last week on my surgery rotation, which is a little bittersweet. I have been loving it. As you all know, I would like to specialize in anesthesiology one day, so I've been able to get experience seeing that in the OR. But at the same time, I'm ready for a change. I've never really had experience being on a rotation for more than just 2 or 3 weeks, and so being on this rotation for 2 months has been a lot. I am someone who constantly needs something new going on or needs change, and so I think I have been trying really hard to learn how to honor each rotation and just really get fully involved in the specialty and learning everything I can about techniques and really asking the doctors everything I can to get as much information and insight into each field as possible. And I think that's so important. If you're a fellow medical school and you're going through your different rotations, it's important to learn how to honor different blocks and it's not going to be your favorite. For example, I wasn't a huge fan of general surgery, but I always made sure to ask questions to make it interesting for myself. And on today's menu as well is a peach almond yogurt. I love these things. They are so good, but can be a bit pricey, so I don't have them as often as I would like, but they are so good in a good way. They actually do put probiotics in these like they do with the non-vegan options, so this is such a good way for me to start breakfast. Again, I'm more of a breakfast snack person rather than a breakfast meal person, so I usually will accompany this with some granola or just eat it by itself depending on how your girl is feeling that day. And then for lunch, I brought my favorite infamous, or not infamous, I guess it's not a bad thing, my famous seaweed and kimchi combo. Normally I like to bring some rice mixed with some soy sauce and sriracha, but your girl was feeling a little lazy, didn't have any rice prepared, but that's okay. I love it all the same. And that yummy juice at the bottom of the kimchi is so good, has so much flavor, and I normally like to dip my seaweed in that as well. And you guys, I cannot explain to you guys the benefits of eating kimchi or something fermented every single day. You want to know how those Asians look so young? It's the kimchi, guys. Now it is finally time to come home, relax a little bit, and get ready for my run for the day. Alright, y'all, I just got home from the hospital. It's currently about 2:30 p.m. right now. I am going to change, have a light snack, and go ahead and get ready for my speed run today. I don't remember what my speed run is. I'll let you guys know and look at my training plan and stuff like that. But yeah, as soon as I get home, I like to just change and go ahead and go straight into my run, because I know if I allow myself any downtime, I will be less motivated to go. So yeah, so let's get changed and have a little bit of a snack before we go. Okay, so I just went over the run for today, and you guys, this is one of my least favorite runs, if I'm being honest. So it is an interval run, which I'm normally fine with, but today it's basically, I think it's 11 intervals, 30 seconds each, at either mile or 5K pace. And I did not get into the sport of running, you guys, for short distances and quick speed workouts. That is not what I signed up for, but all runs are super important and really help with different aspects of running, and so I have to do it. It's a 37-minute interval run, but obviously I won't be doing the speed part of it the whole time. Again, it's split up into 30-second intervals, and so yeah, very excited. I do like speed run days. I do love fartlek runs, but I don't love going at my 9 out of 10 effort on these types of runs. So we'll see how it goes. I am all dressed. I have some Nike Pro shorts on. I have my shoes. I have just a regular oversized t-shirt. I know a lot of people do not like running with oversized t-shirts. Personally, I do. I try to wear something more form-fitting for longer runs, but for short runs, I just like to throw on something very comfortable, something that is just easy to wear and feels good and is light fabric. So yeah, so today we are going to hit that speed run. I'm going to head to the park and do just sort of treat it like a track workout, I guess, because our park has a sort of circular sidewalk. And yeah, so I got the hair up. You guys have been super inspired by, I don't know if you guys know the creator Linda Sun, but she does a lot. Did you guys just see that? My door just opened out of nowhere. Oh my god, it's creepy. Anyway, Linda Sun, she does like running, fitness, lifestyle, inspirational stuff, and I have been loving her videos, and she always puts her hair like this, and then she goes and I love it. It's so much fun. Anyway, so I'm not sure. I think I'm just gonna fuel up with a banana and toast with some peanut butter, and then hit the road here in about 45 minutes, hydrate, and take you all on a nice little speed run. I live for these long runs. They give me so much life and so much joy. I look exhausted here, but I promise you that this is the most fun I have all day. I look forward to my runs every single time, even though it is not that pretty. Okay, you guys, I just finished my speed run. As you can tell, I'm very red, very sweaty. It was very difficult. I'm gonna put my final times of each lap here on the screen so you can see how I did. Again, guys, I am not a speed runner at all, but I did my absolute best. I am absolutely exhausted. So I'm gonna go home, take a shower, drink a lot of water, and it's always important that within the first 30 minutes of finishing your workout, you get some good protein, some good energy into you to help your body recover. And at night, I usually do some stretches as well to help my muscles. So overall, good workout, feeling good, feeling energized. I'm ready to tackle on the rest of the day.